Hello, hello. Hello, friends. Nancy Sawyer here for Let's Coach 2023. Welcome to Thursday, 1 p.m. my local time. I'm here with you. I focus on midlife mastery and helping people to master all things midlife when those waters get a little bit muddy for you. I help people to redefine who they want to be, to rediscover their joys and who they are and what makes them happy. So as I let people hop on here, I want to tell you some housekeeping. If you would like to stand up and be coached one-on-one, you are welcome to do that. I would love to do that with you. You can use the raise hand button and I can bring you up as a panelist and we can coach one-on-one. You can be on camera. You don't have to be on camera. It's up to you. And if that's not the way you want to go, but you have a question, something that's on your mind today, you can put a Q&A, a question in the Q&A, which you'll see at the bottom of your screen. I'll be glad to check that throughout this session. I have 30 minutes to be here with you. So put your questions in the Q&A. Also, any feedback or comments. If you've been here with me before, you know that oftentimes this turns into being kind of a stream of consciousness of my own, of things that I'm dealing with personally, or that I've had come up with recent client conversations. I like to work through some of this stuff. So for me, it's a stream of consciousness of what's come up in my life and with client calls lately. So again, if you want to be coached, use that raise hand button. We can do a little bit of one-on-one coaching. That's super fun. Or if you just have a question or are bringing something to the table today that's on your mind, you can put that question or comment in the Q&A. Please also, if I'm saying something that resonates with you or that confuses you, or you'd like clarification on, put that in the Q&A as well, and I can talk a little bit more about that. Today I have on my brain a topic of all the roles that we play in our life. I was speaking with a friend recently, and they're struggling with something that their adult daughter is doing, some choices she's making. And so we were having a conversation around that. And this person was asking me, what is the role of a parent in these situations? And so I asked them to define what their role is. How do they define it? And this is something that is very important that we all understand, is we all play lots of roles in our lives. We may be a parent, we may be a coworker, a spouse, a partner, a mother, a father, a daughter, a sister, a brother. We have all these different roles that we play. A friend, forgot a very big one there. And it's important for us to define for ourselves how we can be successful in that role, what it means for us to be successful in that role. One important thing here to note is that this definition of success in each of these roles in the roles we play is going to be different for each one of us. So how I define success in parenting is going to be different from how my sister may define that, or my friend may define that. And it's really important that we allow others to define it the way they want, and we define our own the way we want. So in this conversation with a friend recently, we were talking about the role of a parent when our children become adult status, right? When they're 18 plus. There's a big shift there in my brain. As children are young, our role as a parent, in my opinion, is to keep them alive, to keep them safe, to make sure they get the education that they need, to make sure they understand how the world works. For me, Now that my kids they're 16 and 18, my role is significantly shifting, and what I define as success as a parent is very different actually from what a lot of people around me think. I see a lot of parents pushing kids to achieve and to get all A's and to be the best in the class and to get into the good college and to get that great job. I am not that person. My definition of a successful parent for me is that my children are happy, that they make healthy choices for themselves, that they understand that the opportunities they're going to have is based on the work they do, the effort they put into something. And I want them to be happy. For me personally, it doesn't matter if they get into the best college, if they get all A's, if they get a great job with great benefits and great achievements. That does not matter to me. I love my children. I want them to be happy. I don't want them to pursue things or achievements. I want them to pursue living a happy life. This is not at all what most of my other parent friends think for their kids. And that's okay. Because what their definition of success as a parent is fine. Because it's not, they're not my children. As long as it's like everybody stays in their own lane, right? Raise your children the way you want. I'll raise my children the way I want. We all respect each other and love each other. It's good, right? So for me, in my parenting role, I consider it, I want my kids to understand how the world works. I want them to be able to use information to make solid decisions that guide them and bring them to the path that they want to create to their life. And I want them to understand that the choices they make creates the life they're creating, right? So be aware of who you are, of what you value, and make choices that are in alignment with that rather than to please other people. So if you think about all the roles you have, think about the roles you play in life, right? If you're a spouse, if you're a friend, if you're a partner, how do you define success in that role? When you think about how you're showing up every day to these roles, how do you define success in that role? And my next question is, if you have a certain way of being, sometimes we have a day and say, geez, I wasn't really showing up as my best self today, or geez, I was short, or I wasn't really focused today, or I wasn't with it, or I was, whatever happened, right? If we're feeling some negative energy around that, negative feelings, we didn't show up as our best self. It's important that we're clear, first of all, what does our best self look like? Who do we want to be? How do you want to show up? If you want to be the best spouse you can, husband or wife, what does that look like for you? How do you define that? When we have relationship challenges, many times that is due to differing expectations of our roles. And sometimes we don't have those conversations with our spouse of our expectations or our needs and our desires. What are we seeking from the other person in the relationship? And so when we have these conversations and we're clear on the expectations, on what we can bring to the table, so a couple of things, our expectations of others, but then also what we can bring to the table, what we offer. When we are clear on these things, then we can create a cohesiveness in that give and take and in that relationship. Is some of this resonating with you? If so, feel free to put some comments in the Q&A or any questions. So as I think of any interaction, any connection with another human being, whether it is a coworker, whether it is a spouse, whether it is a parent or a child, a friend, someone you volunteer with, the mailman, the person at Starbucks who gets your coffee? How can you show up as your best self? What are your expectations of yourself? The word expectation is kind of loaded. I don't love the word expectations because I believe expectation is the mother of disappointment. When we have expectations of others, especially if we haven't voiced them, it can lead to a lot of discord in that relationship. It's important to have expectations of ourselves, to have high standards. It's also important to show ourselves grace and to know that your best is different every day. Sometimes I use the term, the phrase, showing up as your best self, but actually I prefer the phrase showing up as a great version of you. Because your best self is hard to show up as every single day. Every day, our best is different. And so we have a view of ourselves of how we want to show up to the world, how we want to show up for our spouse, for our children, for our work, for our friends. For every role we play, we have expectations of ourselves. It's important to get very clear on those so that we can know, am I meeting this? Am I showing up as the version of me that I want to show up as? And if we're not, which by the way happens all the time because we're human and we make mistakes and we have off days, if we're not showing up in the ways that we want to show up, what can we do? We need to step outside, become an observer of self. You've heard me say this many times if you've been with me. What do I need to give myself so that I can show up as a great version of me? If I'm showing up to work and I'm not focused and I'm not being productive, not getting my work done, or maybe making mistakes, what's happening? Instead of beating yourself up, calling yourself a failure, or saying, geez, I suck. It's what's going on here? Is there something going on away from work that's affecting my work that needs attention? Is it that I'm burnt out? Am I working too much overtime? Have I not had a vacation in a year? And do I not have enough downtime? What is happening that is causing me to show up as less than how I want to show up? So again, as you hear me say all the time, taking that pause, taking a step back off the hamster wheel and saying, what's happening here? So you come home from work and then you're short with your significant other, you get in a little spat, then you feel bad, and then you're beating yourself up, right? But what we want to do is take a couple steps back. What happened before you came home? Did you have a stressful day at work and you brought that energy into home? Or has there been something on your mind? Is there an important decision? It's tax season. Maybe you got taxes on your mind, or tax bill you have to pay. Maybe there are bill things going on, financial struggles, financial worries. Maybe at work, something happened and you're concerned that you might be losing your job soon, right? And then we bring that in to the home. So when you catch yourself being short, responding negatively, maybe not being focused, making mistakes, take a couple steps back. What's happening for me? What's happening? And what can I do? Is there something I can do? Is there a conversation I need to have? Do I need to just take a morning off, take a weekend off? Do I need some one-on-one time with my spouse? Maybe we haven't had that in a really long time. We're just going. We need to reconnect a little bit. So think about all the roles. That's what I wanted to talk about today. All the roles in your life that you play every day, that you show up as. And what does it mean to you to be successful in those roles? And I'm asking this of you, for you to define that for yourself. Not what does society say, not what does your mom say, not what does that nosy coworker say. How do you define success in these roles? So there's a little comment here, question in the Q&A. I just want to read. It says, these sessions get me to stop and rethink and pivot. I love the questions that you offer. I need to remember all of this while I'm busy with my day. I'm glad this is resonating with you. Yeah, I think, again, one of my biggest missions, biggest desires is to help people understand that it is okay to slow down, and it is okay to reflect, and it is okay to think about what's happening, what's coming up for me in response to what is happening around me. We deserve that. We deserve that time. We often push through. We push and go, go, go. I have a friend who's grieving today. It's the anniversary of losing someone she loves. And I got a text this morning and she said, it's a hard day at work, but I have to be at work all day. And I said, yeah, I get it. These things happen. How can you give yourself what you need and get through the day of work? Can you step out, maybe to have a little cry for a 10-minute walk at lunchtime, right? You know, we have all these feelings, we have things come up for us, and there's still stuff in life that we have to do, we have to get done. So how can we best manage that? How can we give ourselves what we need so we can do what we need to do, but also love ourselves and give ourselves what we need to thrive and to be happy humans, happy, fulfilled people? Yeah. Here's a question here. It says, I care so much what others think of me. How do I not let their opinions bother me? That's a great question. You're not alone. So many people are very worried about this. And this is what I'm going to tell you. You cannot please everybody. No matter what you do, someone is not going to like it. You can be the most beautiful, loving, kind, helpful, best person in the whole world. There will still be someone out there who doesn't like you or who doesn't like it. Once we understand this, we understand that trying to please others is a losing game. You see, people come to us, right? The other people, they come to us, they have expectations. Their view of the world, as is ours, I mean, I guess I'll start here. Our view of the world is colored by our experiences, how we grew up, how we were raised, our education, what we've been through, the easy things, the hard things, the awful things, the traumatic things. Our view of the world is colored by all of that. So our response to someone else, right? We may have, you may see someone, walking down the street with a dog and the dog's barking. If you're someone who, maybe you were bitten by a dog when you were a child and you're terrified of them, you're scared. You might be scared. There might be someone standing next to you who absolutely loves dogs and grew up, working at the MSPCA or the dog shelter, helping dogs, and says, oh, that dog is so excited listen to them barking. The point here is we all react to things based on what we bring to the table, okay? And this is true for everyone else. So you may be the nicest person, you do something super nice for someone, and they may have a negative reaction to it. It might be because maybe they've been used in the past and people do nice things just to get stuff from them. I mean, I don't know. There are a million ways that it could happen, but the point is, everyone brings to the table their own view, their own things, their own baggage. And you're never going to be able to please anybody. I mean, everybody. You will be able to please some people. So when we try to please everybody, it's a losing game. And when we try to please others, we often leave ourselves behind. We abandon what we want or what's right for us because we're trying to make someone else happy. Okay. So if we care what others think, sometimes we're also afraid that they won't like us, that they'll be mad at us, that whatever, they won't talk to us anymore. I would encourage you to dig deep. If you care so much what others think, why is this? So number one, as humans, we are like pack animals, okay? We are meant to be connected. We are not meant to be alone. So, and this goes back to caveman days. I talk about the caveman brain a lot, okay? Back in caveman days, safety is in numbers. We're more likely to survive longer if we are with a tribe of people, a group of people. So our brain is wired, that caveman brain is wired to want to fit in, okay? That doesn't necessarily serve us. Our software is outdated. I like to say that a lot. The software in our brain is outdated. It is not meant for today's world and today's society where we don't have to live out in the wild and worry about being attacked by, whatever, wild animals, okay? Our society is much different. However, we still have these needs, instincts, desires that are driven by our brain. So one of them is a need to fit in, okay? If you are overly sensitive to that need to fit in, ask yourself, what's coming up for me? What if I don't fit in? Is it, you get deeper on that, what I care, what others think of me. Is it because you want to be liked? Is it a need to be liked? Is it a need to fit in? Is it a need to not be, to not be made fun of? Like, there are so many different needs, like that covers a lot, what you said. But know that what other people think doesn't matter. What only matters at the end of the day is how you think about yourself. Because if you abandon your own values and what you think is important so that you will fit in with others, you're not going to like yourself. I have a daughter who's very much an individual, and she's 18 years old. And, high school is pretty tough, right? You have to have the right clothes, you have to have the right hairstyle, you have to have all these things in order to fit in. And, it's very cliquey, right? She decided a long time ago, she didn't want any part of that. She's just going to be her. And I have to say, over the past years watching her, I have been so impressed, and I've learned from her, because I wasn't like that in high school. I wanted to fit in. I cared what everyone else thought. I wanted them to like me. I wanted them to accept me. And as such, I sometimes found myself wearing things, doing things, and going to places that I didn't like. Like, I didn't enjoy it. I didn't want to do that, but I did it because that's what everybody else was doing, right? So in that quest to be accepted by others, I was abandoning myself, what was true for me. I was making choices based on how they would think of me rather than how I thought about me. So this is the shift that I would encourage you to think about. Some people say, hey, to be a good parent, you have to do X, Y, and Z and A, B, and C. To be a good spouse, you have to be A, B, C and do all these things. I say no to all that. I say, how about me? What do I think? What is my role here? And other people can think what they want. I started recognizing, I've told this story before. I for many years tried to fit in. I suffer an abandonment trauma at 14 years old. I found out my father was someone other than who I thought it was. And as a result of that, like a family secret came out, my grandparents disowned me. So it was kind of like an abandonment of people that I loved or thought, that I loved and who I thought loved me. And so from that, I spent many years trying to fit in and wanting to be loved and really wanting to be accepted. As I watch my daughter now in her high school years, not falling prey to that, trying to fit in and being what everybody else says you should be, she's just her own self, her own darn self. She's like, I want to wear this. I think it looks cool. I don't care if the kids think I'm weird. I think that's beautiful, because in that, she's accepting herself and saying, this is who I am. Take it or leave it. And I will tell you, she has a close circle of very authentic and incredibly lovely friends. Whereas I see other people who fit into the cliques and they have a large circle of superficial friends who aren't that close in relationships. And I had that. That's what I had growing up. I have very few friends that have stuck through all those years. I have several, but a lot of them I don't really talk to anymore because we weren't really closely connected. And now I have a small circle of authentic friends who I can be myself in front of and who I accept who they are, so they can show up as themselves without judgment, without having to fit in, without saying, why are you wearing that? Or why are you going there? Or why do you have that job? It's, here I am. Here is me. I love you. And when I meet new people, I can quickly now read and get a sense of who they are. If they are an authentic individual, or if they are more of a fake individual who is just trying to fit in and just trying to, who's very judgy. Sometimes people are very judgy. So if you're around people who are very judgy, it's easy to get caught up in the, oh my gosh, I want to be accepted by them. So I hope this is helpful. What I would say to you is, you are incredible as you are. Let yourself out. Show that authentic you. Spend that time with yourself. Discover who you are, what you value, what you love about yourself, what you love about the gifts that you bring to the table, and celebrate those. And when you love yourself and celebrate yourself for everything you are, then we don't need that outside validation so much. If we don't fit in, it's okay. Getting comfortable with other people not, I don't want to say not liking us, but getting comfortable with understanding we can't please everybody is a really important piece of moving forward, right? Knowing that you're not for everybody, and that's okay. That's okay. Because when you start to show the authentic you, the right people start showing up in your life. It's actually quite astonishing what happens once we stop trying to be what everyone else says we should be and we start being us. The right people kind of tend to show up in your life, and your life starts to change dramatically. Sometimes your friend groups change, and just the spaces that you're in, the opportunities, they change because you're being authentically you. So I would encourage you to honor you and who you are. And here's another comment. It says, yes, I have someone in my life who is very judgy. It's so hard to be around them. Oh, yeah, damn straight. I'm right there with you. I'd rather be alone than be around people who are judgy. And as I have grown personally and allowed my authentic self to come out, I'm around a lot less people because now I don't go to a lot of the same things I used to go to because people are judgy. And I find that to be a waste of my time. I'd rather be working on myself. I'd rather be doing something that I love for myself. I'd rather be going for a run. I'd rather be doing a puzzle. I'd rather be reading. I'd rather be having a deep conversation with someone who I care about. I'd rather be preparing for a great experience for tomorrow than be around people who are judgy. And as I started saying no, because here's the thing, we know, like if you go into that neighborhood barbecue or you're going to that dinner with this certain friend group, you know these people, right? There are patterns. Like I know, oh geez, if I go to that party, that birthday party, I know it's going to be all this people. They're all judgy. It's not something I want to be around. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with, like, I'm not going to talk badly about them. I just say for me, that's not the space I want to be around. That's not the energy I want to be around. And I get to choose what I am around. So as I have become more confident in that and in understanding that I create my experience of life by the choices I make, I'm choosing to not be around judgy people. And if I go to this thing and they're judgy people, I generally don't go back. So some of this involves hard decisions, especially when we start realizing sometimes as we change and grow, we realize, gee, most of my friends are actually really judgmental. This can be very uncomfortable. This is when you've probably heard it, when you outgrow people, you start outgrowing friendships, you outgrow relationships because you have become an evolved version of yourself. You're growing, you're evolving, you're changing. And a lot of times people just stay the same and we outgrow others. This is one of the hardest parts of growing as a person, is outgrowing other people, but it is part of life. And I would say, don't let those people hold you back because you have a light to shine and you have gifts that the world needs. So as you continue to develop yourself, more people will show up in your life that will lift you up. Once you start making those choices of, I'm not going to put up with this judginess. I don't want to be around this person anymore. Once you start making those choices that honor yourself, the universe, I use the universe, you could say God, whatever works for you, will start putting people and opportunities in your life that help you lift you up. Once you say, yes, I can be better and I deserve better. So I hope this has been helpful. I'm a little bit over time. I hope that you take away from this some good thoughts, some good questions, and I hope that you take care of you. And I hope that you understand how incredible you are and that the world needs you. So have a wonderful rest of your day. I will be here next Thursday. I'm here every Thursday at 1 o'clock for Let's Coach 2023, brought to you by Life Coach University. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much. And this says this is exactly what I needed today. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for coming today. Keep coming, keep showing up, and keep taking care of you. Have a great day, everybody.